What's up everyone, welcome to my How to Build a Crosskart series. Now in this series I'll show you how you can build a crosskart using my plans. Now in part 1 I'll show you how to build this frame. Stay tuned.
That's right, I'm showing you how to build a crosskart. Now over the past few months I've been very busy with making a full set of plans. And now they're finally complete. So hereby I'd like to proudly present to you the Homemade Madness Cheetah Buggy. Called the Cheetah Buggy because this thing will be light, agile and fast. And the best thing is, you can build it. Now as you can imagine, driving a crosskart is a lot of fun. It's basically a go-kart on steroids with usually over 100 horsepower coming from a sports bike engine. But the downside is they seem very difficult and expensive to make. Until now. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So back in 2018 I built my first crosskart. Now this video recently hit over 1 million views, which is amazing, but it also raised a lot of questions. Like what are the frame dimensions, what engine is in it, how did you build the driveline? But the by far most asked question was, do you have plans? And now I can finally answer that question. Yes, I do. So after measuring out the old buggy, I made a full set of plans. Now I've designed this buggy in such a way that it will be possible for almost everyone to build. And in this video series I'll show you everything you need to know to get started. So let's take a quick look at the buggy's final dimensions. And of course these dimensions will vary if you have different wheel size, but it will be approximately 2 meters wide, 2.5 meters long and about 1.5 meters high. And for the power plant, of course, we'll be using a sports bike engine. Starting from, let's say, 200cc all the way up to 1000cc. And this particular buggy will be equipped with the 1000cc Honda CBR engine. And this engine should make around 140 horsepower. But I really suggest you start off with a 600cc engine, which tend to be a bit cheaper and more commonly available and will make probably around 100 horsepower, which will be plenty fast, believe me. And if you can get yourself a cheap bike, you can probably build this entire buggy for around $1,000 to $2,000, keeping the cost down by recycling stuff from old cars, like the driveline and steering unit. And instead of spending thousands of dollars on buggy coilovers, I'll be using the front forks of the bike we get the engine from as rear suspension, as well as the brakes, radiator, chain, etc. But all that is yet to come. First, let's build a frame. Now this frame can be built using only the most basic of tools. You can make it with an angle grinder, a welder and a simple tube bender. One of the unique features within the design is the use of templates to cut the notches. I'm using paper cutouts which fold around the tubing to make even the most complicated joints easy to make using only an angle grinder. And to make sure everything is easy to assemble the right way, wooden molds are included in the plans. The molds make it way easier to build the frame accurately. And although the frame looks pretty complicated, it was designed in such a way that it's relatively easy to build. For instance, these faces are precisely vertical, and this ring, called the middle frame, is built first in a wooden mold. Now the first thing to build will be a wooden frame table and then the middle frame. And by using the computer generated tube notches and the plans, it will be a walk in the park. Let's get started.
Okay, so first step, we need to have a nice big flat surface to build the frame on. Now if you have a welding table you can use it. If you don't have one, you can use one made out of wood. Just make sure it's level, flat and square. So my frame table is complete. It's nice and level this way and this way. Now what's important is this angle should be perfectly square, because this is where we will take our measurements from. So just make sure you get a nice square plate and mount it on the top. Now, to take the plans. So as you know, first step is to make the middle frame, and here are the plans. So as you can see, I have the plate in the plan as well. Now it doesn't matter if your plate is bigger this way or even smaller a bit, because we're only measuring from this side and this side. So make sure these two edges of your table are perfectly square. So what we'll do is mount some blocks on here and use it as a mold to make the frame nice and perfect. So I'll take the dimensions, draw it on this plate, and then we will screw on our blocks. So the reason we do it like this is because the blocks are way easier to measure to. So once we have the blocks in position, we can just lay the tubes against them, and that way we'll end up with a perfectly dimensioned frame. So let's cut the blocks, mount them on the plate, and let's get started.
Okay, little update. This is what I have now. Looking pretty good. Just welded on the middle frame. In the notches here. On my little stand here. My mold. And on these two. Had to make a few little adjustments to the template. It's not that bad, it's just more important that it touches here and here. And that way I know this is perfectly parallel to this one. And also it's important, this is vertical. So if I have my water level, this one is pretty good. And this is also not that bad. This side as well. Took me about 1.5 days to build this, so not that bad. Next up, build the roll cage base, and then the two bars to the front, and then the rear assembly. And then the rest of the little tubes going here and here and here and everywhere. And then the frame is done. So yeah, progress is good, but I got a lot to do. Better get going.